ask you gentlemen this question. Have you ever taken a class that taught you what to do with your money?
No.
I had the similar realization. I'm like, man, I made it through K through 12 education in Louisiana, never taken one class about how to manage my own money. I'm at Yale, sophomore, and I had taken econ. I'm learning about all these derivatives and equities and all these equations I had never once learned. This is a checking account. This is how you build credit. You know what I'm saying? So safe to say you weren't going to learn. We aren't going to teach you what to do with your money. So I had to go out on my own because I realized if I didn't learn it, all these people that look like me didn't learn it. They ain't go to no Yale. They in jail. I set out to learn it. I spent all this time like, once I made that connection that everybody didn't learn about finance, I made it my choice. I'm like, this is my path. I'm going to be the guy that teaches other people what to do with their money, i.e. what is the purpose of this paper that we'll do anything for, but not anything with once we get it, anything constructive that is. So that is the beauty that came out of the struggle, which is what I meant when I said birth pain.
The Haitian Kings. The Haitian Kings. The Haitian Kings. The Haitian Kings Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Haitian Kings Podcast. And today we got somebody special. I know, like usually I always say it's special, but yeah, he's special.
I mean, everybody's special. If you're here, you're special. Let's do it.
So he's from Lake Charles, went to Yale. I'll let him explain all that. And he wrote the book. The whole purpose is here today to talk about the book, The Purpose of Paper. Without further ado, Gerron Duhon.
Man, thank y'all for having me. I'm so excited to be here and sit down with you good brothers. Very proud to come back to Lake Charles. It's been a while since I left when I was 17 a couple years ago to head to Yale University. I haven't been back in Lake Charles consistently, but I'm always excited for a chance to come back and have some good conversations with some good people.
Oh, there you go, man. Well, welcome back home. So I guess let's take it way back. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, let's go way back from the beginning. Who's Gerron? Like, who is he? Where come from? His upbringing? How is that like?
Sure thing. So I'm Gerron Duhon, and I'm from a city that you may know from Lake Charles, Louisiana. If you know it, it's probably because you live here or you've came to a casino here or you've passed through on I-10. I grew up in a two-parent household. Both of my parents worked in a refinery. I'm pretty sure that's a common story here, but I was the third youngest of four children. So I grew up in Lake Charles, third youngest of four children. And childhood for me, really, I was a closed book. I didn't have too many friends. I value depth, quality over quantity. So I had four really close friends growing up. We all played sports together. So in my free time, how it was spent, when I wasn't playing football, I was running track in the summer or going to one of my sister's softball tournaments or welding, cutting grass, the typical hustles here in Louisiana. I always knew I was gifted in the classroom. I've been in advanced classes since kindergarten. So I won't say I was super challenged, but my mom, just the fear of going home with a B on my report card and filling that paddle or whatever have you, just kept me straight. So I stayed focused. I was a bookworm, ended up graduating with a 4.0 GPA. And I played a lot of ball. And I just love being in Lake Charles, man. It was a great place. It was a small town. Everybody knew everybody. But as I was growing up, I didn't really see anyone that I just wanted to be like. I had a burning desire to be like, I want to be like that guy. And I guess it always created a hunger in me because as I was growing up, I just felt like there was more for me than what I was exposed to here in Lake Charles. And more was a very foggy concept at the time, but I just felt like God had something bigger in store for me. And on my signing day in 2019, I was choosing between West Point, the military academy, Cornell University, Tulane, and Yale University. And once I chose Yale, I was like, I knew it. God did have a plan for me that was beyond Lake Charles, and I headed out to start that journey. And as a result, I'm sitting here with you gentlemen today.
Well, speaking of Yale, I mean, that's not a common story to hear somebody from Lake Charles, Louisiana, end up going to Yale. I mean, I'm not sure if it's pretty common, but I'm not familiar with it at all. So tell us how was that like? How was it the first day? Talk us through the whole journey. How was that like walking into campus? You know, poor guy from Lake Charles, Louisiana, all the way over there. What was that like?
Great question. I liken my journey at Yale like the process of when a woman gives birth. It was some of the highest and best moments of my life, but it was also some of the moments of most intense pain that I've ever been through. But to walk it back, leading up to going to Yale, right? They already set a precedent in my mind that I was somewhat inferior because, and I'll tell you why. When you're an athlete, after you graduate in May, you head up to your school to compete for summer, you compete in summer workouts in June. I couldn't go to Yale. I had my teammates were at Yale in my class. I couldn't go up to Yale because I had to take college courses to prove to them that my GPA wasn't a fluke, right? Because my coaches just drilled in on me. You're from Louisiana. You're so low as a state in the education system. We had to verify that your GPA is valid and that you can qualify and can make it through the rigor at Yale.
Oh, wow.
So this is in my mind. Before I even set foot, I'm like, okay, I truly felt like I was only going to Yale because I played football, right? So imagine me, I get to Yale and now I'm so excited, bro. I'm on the plane. I really felt like I'm like Iron Chest Charlie on this plane. I'm like, man, I made it out Lake Charles. You know, I had a great senior season and I was like, man, it's nothing nobody can do with me. I'm about to go instant starter. You know, I had all the dreams. I get to Yale. First day, it was a blur. And the football schedule made it so much easier because I was always around people and I made friends so quick and my schedule was already created for me. So it wasn't so much roaming around and workouts, film, practice, and I got to be with some great friends. So as I got to Yale, freshman year, football was going well. I was competing well. I was getting acclimated to the cold. It was so cold, and I'm used to being from Louisiana. I love the weather, bro. It was cold up there, and we have to work out in it. You know, you have to go run in it. It's not like you can hide from it, wear all these layers. So that was the first culture shock, how cold it was. And also from Louisiana, we had some great food down here.
Yeah.
It was not like that there. You know, it wasn't much Tony's. It wasn't much seasoning going on, so it wasn't the best cuisine either. But back to my football journey, because that was the focal point. I felt like I was there to play football. Classes weren't that bad, but as I was playing football, we had just started fall camp where you pad up. You put your pads on and you start practicing to prepare for the season. I guess it was like third or fourth practice into fall camp, I got a really bad concussion. So now I'm so eager, it knocked my momentum. Everything was going according to plan, and then I received a concussion. And now instantly, just off the strength of that injury, I had to sit out for 6 months. So I missed my whole freshman season. And in this 6 months, my teammates used to always call me Ray Charles because I'm in class with shades on because of the light sensitivity. So the lights would hurt my head, and then I was noise sensitive. So sometimes the professors would grant me online access to take classes so I didn't have to sit in the auditorium where it was so loud. My journey first year was navigating through this injury. And then it culminated because I had a series of injuries from concussions, torn labrums in both of my shoulders and one of my right hip, sprained ankles. So my body had been put through the ringer in high school. So I didn't realize the effects that had on the longevity until I got to Yale. And now I had this concussion. And it's crazy because a concussion is an injury that you can't see. You only feel it, but to the onlookers, you don't look hurt. Yeah. It's not like you're in a cast or anything. So I had the pressure of everybody telling me you aren't hurt. Coaches, they're like, you need to come back early. Even family members, they were, man, what are you doing? Like, you got to Yale, you disappointing us. You need to go play. A common theme of sacrifice your health for our glorification, like a Roman in a gladiator. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So my freshman year was comprised of that, just navigating my injury from football. And 6 months in, I ended up deciding in September when I turned 18, I decided that I was going to retire from football because I thought it was in the best interest for my life. I realized, I'm like, man, and in this time period, the Concussions movie, I'm not sure if y'all are familiar, or the events with Aaron Hernandez and all these football players were having CTE and it was leading them to do crazy things. Yeah. So I'm talking I have like mandatory appointments with a doctor from Yale, New Haven, which is a great hospital. And she's like, looking at this CT scan, she's like, I really want you to do some thinking because you have a lot of life to live at this point. At this point, I'm only 18. So she's like, you have a lot of life to live at this point. So you might want to take that into consideration. Like, how bad does clearly going against your own health, really the only thing I could gain from it was to keep pleasing others because I was hurt. Like my ankles were fried. My NFL dreams were pretty much shot then. So I made that decision, and now you have to deal with the fallout. So going into my sophomore year, dealing with the fallout of my decision to retire from football, right? And what the fallout looks like. Me, in my own head, I'm like, you gave up. I have coaches literally come and visit my dorm to tell me we wasted resources on you. You wouldn't be at Yale if it wasn't for us recruiting you. I kid you not. I'm serious. Like,
Dang.
parents, like I just now getting my relationship back on track with family members because they were so facts, bro. And I love my parents to death, but they were just so disappointed.
But so how was your psyche in that moment?
Great question.
Throughout all this.
Yes, sir.
Get a bit closer. Yeah. So how was your psyche? How was your mental health going through all this? A young kid away from home, no support, going through all this.
Bro, it was fried. My mental health was in the worst state it's ever been. That was the first encounter I had with a true mental health crisis. And it was just worsened because typically all the people that I would consult and confide in and receive like affirmation and help and support from, they weren't talking to me. They were so disappointed. Like I could not shake it, bro. I kid you not.
But don't get me wrong, though. I mean, I can understand both sides of that.
I mean,
because
these are
because a lot of people down here, especially, they're a big football fan, right? Then you got your son.
You finally made it all the way to Yale.
And you can't wait to just say, man,
look at my son about to play this weekend. And these dudes don't want to play.
So, I know you're going, like you said, nobody cares about what you're going to get on that field.
Yeah, you're right, though. I mean, from a parent perspective, it's one of those things as a parent myself. I'm sure anybody that's a parent, a lot of time you want the best and the greatest thing for your kids. So you even want it more for them than you want it for yourself.
Sure.
And then whenever for some reason you see them either, not going for it, or maybe you feel like for some reason they're not going for it.
Because
like you said, it's like now your son you got a concussion, dude been sitting on his ass for 6 months, probably playing video game all day.
I think it's best. I think it's like you said. I think it would be best if they see you on the cast.
I mean, you're right though. That's something.
Fact that you can't see.
Yeah.
The fact that you can't see anything and you just
you look up playing video game all day, man, chilling, going to the club.
Or you be like, man, I cannot get on the field. You be like, man, suck it up, buttercup. Do something about it. But in the same time, and I can understand like. You feel like the world turned against you. But then when something tragic happened, people usually be like, man, why you didn't say nothing? I've been saying some shit. Like, nobody gives a shit,
I mean, you're right.
I can understand both sides. Like it's kind of like messed up because you on this shit by yourself.
Right.
Even though like you expect like everybody to understand you. And there's the way that they looking at it like, man, this is like, you at the top of the top.
Like, you're at the top of your family.
I want to see, like, if I'm telling my family, my son go to Yale and play football, and it's like, I never see him play.
I mean, but let him finish. Okay, so how was your mental state during that time?
Yeah.
Quit football, you're dealing with the fallout, now you're still in Yale. Go ahead, let me finish the story.
It was a huge identity crisis because I realized how I made a goal when I was younger. I'm like, man, I don't want to be in Lake Charles. I need to use whatever resources I can to make it out. Football was what I chose. So that meant I missed out socializing. I missed out on going to parties. I missed out on doing so many things because I was so consistent and focused on football. Man, I'm as a kid working out. I got weight sleds. So I say all that to say from age 8 to age 18, my identity was that I'm a football player. So I deeply rooted my identity in being a football player, right? And this is what y'all were just touching on. I didn't realize this at the time. I just thought of this the other day. My parents had wrapped themselves in being a parent of a good footballer. I had an identity crisis because now this identity that I was so tightly clung to was now gone. I was no longer a football player. And remember, I told you, because they were chastising my grades and made me take that college course and telling me Louisiana's education system was so poor, I felt like I was only there because I was a football player, right? So now the identity crisis fuels imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Because I'm there, like now I don't deserve to be here. And I already thought everybody else there was so much smarter. So I'm at my lowest point, bro. I don't know what's going on. And I'm just, all I could do, I'm trying to go see counselors at school, but there's a wait list. So like I'm crying, I'm in my room breaking down. I'm trying to call Yale Health and set an appointment. They're like, yeah, come back in 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Let me pause you right there, though. One thing I've noticed throughout this whole thing, it seems like you are able to very thoroughly explain what you were going through. And what that tells me is kind of like, it shows me that you were able to somehow, some way deal with all that. Right. Like to where you accepted it. You somehow, some way your mind made sense of what happened and you accepted it. So was that something that happened through the years, or maybe was it therapy? So what helped you got over the hump in that sense?
Good question. I actually never had a formal therapist. So I never went to therapy, and with Yale Health, I never went to that counselor either. So what happened is I realized what God was doing in that moment. I realized before I got to Yale, I had idols, and those idols were success on the football field and other people's affirmation due to that success. So now I didn't have to worry about being a well-rounded person because people gravitated towards me. I didn't even know, I didn't have social skills. People brought towards me.
You're an athlete. You're an athlete in college, yeah.
So what I realized was happening, God was like, before you turn this next opportunity into another idol, I'm about to show you who's in control of your life. So he took the football from me. So now you identifying yourself by this football, that's gone. Now you not coming to me because you have all this you have people that are there for you that you are putting and you are communing with more than me. I'm gonna make them turn against you. So at that point, I realized this is God telling me you need to come back to me. You too far from me. You worshiping tools and people that I sent to you more than me. So in this moment, I don't have a purpose. So I'm steady praying. I grew closer to God at my lowest moment because I didn't have anything else, bro. Everything was falling apart. And mind you, at Yale, like, I'm a fish out of water. Every time I talk, somebody like, oh, you're not from here. Where you from? You know what I'm
Welcome
saying?
to my world.
Exactly. So it's not like I had a ton of friends there. I was spending all this time by myself. And, you know, as I'm spending all this time by myself, I'm praying more than ever. I'm like, God, what is my purpose? Like, clearly, I thought it was that, but it isn't. What is my purpose? I'm praying to God, like, I'm sorry that I was worshiping that more than you. I wasn't praying like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm playing, I'm balling. I wasn't praying, I was playing. I'm balling. I'm talking to my family. I'm not going to talk to God. So I realized I'm praying to God, and I say the answer to the question is I went to God throughout the situation, and he showed it to me. That's why I understand it so well, because God revealed it to me. He's like, no, you really were. You played through 8 injuries because you didn't want to disappoint your parents. Now your body can't go no more. That's you idolizing other people's affirmation. That's what you was doing. You know what I'm saying? You told yourself you were at Yale because you were a football player, not because God wanted you there. I'll give you this example. Same year I started to go to Yale, there was a $1.2 million bribery attempt. Somebody parent paid $1.2 million to get their child into Yale, and when that was discovered, they end up not making it. So I'm telling myself football got me here. God is like, $1.2 million couldn't have got you here. I got you here. So I say that to say, going to God, he gave me so much clarity about what was going on. And also it was a level of introspection. I had so much time. I'm thinking back on what's going on, and I'm like, how do I feel right now? And right around this time, people are starting to, like, mental health is becoming trendy. So now there's like therapists online. So I'm looking at these things like, how do I feel right now? I feel hurt. I feel disappointed. And the injury was a physical injury to my brain, but it also altered my mental health. So I'm seeking out God, bro, and I'm just doing some introspection. Like, now that I'm here, I had to get really clear on where I was. Now I'm like, where do I want to go? And this is what led me on a journey to get the knowledge I put in this book. Because as I sit back, I'm like, okay, I have an opportunity. I'm here at Yale University, one of the finest institutions in the country, in the world. I have a great opportunity here. I didn't need to be a football player. Like before, my class really, they have a bunch of them guys in the league, and I love watching them. But it wasn't like you go to Yale to go to the NFL.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now I'm
You
in
go
my
to LSU. Yeah.
Exactly. God switched my focus, and he's like, son, you have a great opportunity here. You can get a great job. You can get a job that you love, and you can actually learn things that help you teach and help others. So I knew that I had an opportunity to get a great job since I was going to Yale University. And I knew a great job meant a job that you could help people and solve a problem. And that's how you don't have burnout in your job. You actually connected to what you're doing. So all this time at Yale, you don't pick a major freshman year. You pick a major your sophomore year. So I picked my major political science because I wanted to see what the problems were in the world. Since I wanted to solve a problem, I had to know what the problems were. So as I'm studying those problems, you have climate change, you have the global wars, you have the U.S. debt, et cetera, et cetera. I began to notice a common theme in those problems. It stemmed from resource mismanagement. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, I know whatever role I will have in my life, it will be a resource manager, right? In the background, now that I wasn't a football player, I had these campus jobs, and I'm working the maximum weekly hours that you can work on a campus job. So that's now I'm working for my money, but I can't work anymore to make money. So I'm like, either I reach the ceiling or I have to use my money to make money for me. And when I retired from football, they took away my financial aid. So now I had all this debt. I needed to start strategizing. How am I going to pay this down? So that's two incentives right there. I had the debt and I couldn't work anymore for the money. I need to make my money work for me. Then it dawned on me. I'll ask you gentlemen this question. Have you ever taken a class that taught you what to do with your money?
No.
I had the similar realization. I'm like, man, I made it through K through 12 education in Louisiana, never taken one class about how to manage my own money. I'm at Yale, sophomore, and I had taken econ. I'm learning about all these derivatives and equities and all these equations. I had never once learned this is a checking account. This is how you build credit. You know what I'm saying? And at Yale, personal finance wasn't taught until economics 480. This is a senior level econ class. So you can't learn about how to manage your money unless you make it all the way through econ, because you can't take senior level classes if you didn't take any before. So safe to say you weren't going to learn. We aren't going to teach you what to do with your money. So I had to go out on my own because I realized if I didn't learn it, all these people that look like me didn't learn it. They ain't go to no Yale. They in jail.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They ain't go to Yale. So I set out to learn it. And what that looked like. Interning with local financial advisors so I can learn how do people teach others and help others build wealth. I needed on-the-ground experience and I needed formal experience. So I couldn't take a class, but I could watch a podcast. I could read books. So I read all the different wealth and money books, dove into them. And I just started pouring in and I started making my own investments and paying what I call the F-up tax of the mistakes I made in the market, losing money. So that made me like, well, I ain't making that mistake again. And along the way, being consistent doing that was 5 years ago, I haven't stopped. Now I've accumulated so much more knowledge just from working these different jobs. I have 4 licenses as a financial advisor, working these different jobs. I've been working in wealth management firms for the last 3 years. So I've seen these things and I accumulated that knowledge. And as I was going to Yale, that's what I was doing. I'm working, learning, and practicing by managing my own money. So I spent all this time once I made that connection that everybody didn't learn about finance, I made it my choice. I'm like, this is my path. I'm going to be the guy that teaches other people what to do with their money, i.e., what is the purpose of this paper that we will do anything for, but not anything with once we get it, anything constructive that is. So that is the beauty that came out of the struggle, which is what I meant when I said birth pains. I went through all that, and I didn't even mention my sophomore year was 2020. And what happened in 2020? COVID,
yeah.
So imagine you being home on spring break, you lollygagging. I only brought 2 weeks worth of clothes. Y'all can't come back. We not doing in-person school no more. Y'all stay home and you have to take classes on your computer. and what else happened in 2020? Hurricanes. So I'm in Lake Charles taking online classes, and now category 4 or 5 hurricane comes through, destroys that tower we had.
Yep.
And now we're in Houston on FEMA vouchers. Like Katrina Part 2. So Now I'm at hotels that's like in the boondocks of Texas and don't have Wi-Fi. I couldn't take my classes. I'm steady missing classes. I'm interacting with professors like, I had to take a semester off. So now the momentum had stalled even on that journey. I had to take a semester off. So just to show my journey at Yale was not linear. It was attacks from all different angles. Like I had to take a semester off. You know what I'm doing to pass the time? I'm working at Walmart, bro. It ain't nothing else to do. You know what I'm saying? We not in Lake Charles. What can we do?
Right.
So you have the COVID. And in my junior year, things were going well. And I that summer, I interned with a senator. So that was like the moment I kind of got the prestige in the corporate world as I had from academics. Because people were like, oh, you work with a senator? Like, oh my. And I would love to talk about that further. It was a great experience. But that was my junior year. Now my senior year, I'm figuring all this out. And I had an offer lined up. It was $120K, etc. I'm like, oh, I did it. I'm an Ivy Leaguer. I'm about to make 6 figures. So I graduated in December because I took that semester off. So I was shifted. The May of the first semester of my senior year, I told you my family and it was tension between people that I was usually close with. But it was one person I talked to on a daily basis, my grandmother. Loved her to death. Like I'm sure y'all love y'all grandmothers. Love my grandmother to death. That May, I got a call. My grandmother then passed away. So I got 4 finals to take the next week on the same day, bro. This is what the finals look like. Each different final, like I'm walking in the room, wiping my tears. You feel me? The teachers hugging me and stuff like, stay strong, this and that. Like you can postpone and take them. Like, nah, I got to do it now. As soon as I got so close, I could smell the end zone. I took a bigger loss than before.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and once I graduated, this is after that. Once I graduated, that offer I was telling you about, gone. So I graduated to no work. So now you got people, you went there to play football. You didn't play football. You went to Yale and you come out of Yale, you ain't even have a good job. So you feel me? Like,
It's like when you get catch nails.
exactly, bro. It's exactly, but nothing worth having comes easy. So I just say that to say because a lot of people are like, oh, you went to Yale, like it was sweet. You in a society, this and that. But I'm like, bro, my journey there was hell. But I realized God was birthing a new version of me, a version of me that understood he was in charge. So that was the greatest victory. That's why I say it's like childbirth, because something was birthed on the other side, but it was so much pain in the process. And I was working at a chemical lab in Port Arthur. Just working at a chemical lab with a Yale degree, bro. I'm kid you not. I'm telling the workers about 401ks. Like, if I had my own firm, like I would be good because I'm hipping everybody I meet to this finance game.
That feeling is somewhat extremely familiar. Maybe I'll tell y'all after this that what he's talking about when you just somewhere you just don't belong at a job.
Facts.
And you go to work when you're looking at that.
So many times. I think that's the whole. Like,
Man, that's such a familiar
like you
feeling.
have to go like nothing. Like you said, nothing come true. Like even though like the moments, the shit you go through, but the more painful time, and that's what like make you become a different version of yourself. If like
Exactly.
maybe like if that $120,000 job
That's still waiting
lined
right
up,
after
you probably wouldn't be like the same version that you are right now. You know what I'm saying? So that give you more resilience and stuff
you know
like
what's funny? Now that y'all say that, like I got this weird thing I do. Maybe I should talk to a therapist about it instead of saying it here. I got this weird thing I do within my life. It's like whenever my life is at its peak, at its best,
Oh, yeah, you
everything
do
is
that.
within A1. I'm like, damn, I know this life finna be on some bullshit. hey, dude, it's kind of
that.
like
You've been
after the peak, like whenever I look at my life and everything for some reason happen to be okay. I'm not saying great, but okay. It's kind of like I get in a weird paranoid vibe for like a week or two.
You put that shit in my mind.
I'm like, man, I'm about to get a flat tire. Something finna go down.
It's true though, because he put the first time he put that, because it's not lying. When your life is at the worst, something good's gonna happen. When he's at your peak,
Yeah.
life never let you make it. Like, even like in the surface, everybody can looking at it like, oh yeah, you having a good time. But truly, like if you go deep to the person, you realize, oh damn, I didn't know that was going on.
Yeah.
Because like life always find a way to like at your best, he make you he put you down.
I get a little paranoid also. Every time I go on vacation on a job, I think I've been fired 2 or 3 times from a job right after I came back from vacation. So every time I go on vacation, whenever I'm flying back, I'm like, shit. I wonder if I'm gonna get fired. I think I got fired at Walmart after vacation and a few other jobs. But anyway, Proceed.
go
Let's
ahead.
not get off track. Man. Sorry.
No. That's a great point, because one of the most fascinating courses that I took at Yale was psychology. So I will warn you against holding that in your mind, because you might be manifesting it on yourself because you believe it. I realize, like, that's people always ask, like, what did you learn over there? Like, I'm about to say, nuclear physics, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How to crack a computer code, how to hack Satoshi Bitcoin wallet, you know what I'm saying? Something like that. But it was really the power of the mind through psychology. And for example, let's say you are trying to become a new version of yourself. You're trying to, New Year's resolutions. We all familiar. You like, I'm setting a goal, right? And a lot of the classes were about goal pursuit. I'm setting this goal. I'm going to achieve it. But the mindset that you use when you're trying to achieve it, instead of just focusing on, I want this to happen, I will be 200 pounds, 3% body fat, you're saying, don't eat candy. Don't eat this. And that's called the ironic process theory, because just because you say don't in your mind only focuses on the emotion you have and the main concept. So candy, and you feel strongly about it, you're going to find yourself having a bad diet. And that's why you burn out on setting those new goals. And even there was a class called The Good Life. This was probably the favorite class I ever took in school, because it literally, all it was pondering the value of different factors that make up the portfolio of a good life. And for example, what is the value of friendship in life? What is the value of success? What is the value of a career? What is the value of failure? Even what is the value of death? What is the value of love, etc.? So taking courses like that really made me come out of Yale with just a practical wisdom. I don't like this knowledge that you have that's so, like, you could win a Jeopardy show or something like, are you smarter than the fifth grade? You just have a wide range of knowledge, but it's not useful.
Yeah.
I got a lot of knowledge about how to control the most powerful machine in the world, the human brain. The only thing that separates us from animals. You know, I know how it works now, and I'm confident, and I can use it in its ability and bring things into the world, like this book, or like the job I have now, for example. I had an opportunity to intern at the same company for this position, but the intern version. I passed on it to go work in DC for that senator. When I was out of school, I told you I was working at the chemical lab in Port Arthur. After that, I started working at a firm in Baton Rouge. I went to Houston. I was in the Galleria, kid you not. And I'm in like Macy's or something where it's a window there. It's like a floor to ceiling window in the Galleria. And you can see that firm through the window because the top where we work is right across the street. And I'm like, man, I'm going to be there next year. Like, I kid you not, I can show you my notes. I got a witness sitting right over there. Like, I'm going to be here next year. And I kid you not, I ended up working my network for the same people that were recruiting me for that company. And I got an interview in that same office. And it's crazy because the room we interviewed in had the exact same view from that store where I was standing. And that's where I currently work. So I say that to say, my friend, if you want to change that fortune when life gets good and start getting bad, I will hold a different concept in mind.
You got a point, though. You got a point, but I got to say, in a sense, like, because a lot of times there's something called PTSD, right? I'm sure everybody here is familiar with PTSD, post-traumatic disorder. And it's kind of like, sometimes it's like life, there's a pattern, you know. It's just, let's just say that when I was young, super young, 19 or whatever, right? It's kind of like whenever I let loose, I'm happy. I'm with my friends. I'm drinking. Life is great. Eventually, we're going to do something stupid and then boop. It snapped out of that reality, right? Or the great news just happened. Like I said, went on vacation. I remember I went to back to home, my home world, my whole family. First time went back. Had a blast. Came back, boop. Took out the first time I lost a job right after that. And then the second time it happening, and then it leaves that PTSD in you. It's kind of like whenever my life is at all time, there's always that left curve coming in. So it leaves that trauma within me to where it's kind of like whenever my life is great, I'm like, oh shit, where's it gonna come from? Is it gonna come from the left? Is it gonna come from the down? Is it gonna come from right? Like, what's going on? Because it left that. I guess I got that trauma within me from what happened within the past.
Sure thing. But it seems like at some point, it seems like those were controllable issues. So why did you get fired? Because you went on vacation?
Let me see. Walmart. Very. I was going to school also. I used to work at night and go to school during the day. So basically, I used to get 3-4 hours of sleep, averaging, and then whatever. Mm-hmm. And then I used to go take a nap in my lunch break or my break. And I usually set my alarm, get my 15-minute break. And then one time I went in there, and I think it was my 3 o'clock in the morning break. And I went in there just like I usually do, set up my alarm 15, 20 minutes to get me a nap. And then when I woke up, it was daylight. And when I woke up, it was daylight now. And the thing is, it happened before. That wasn't the first time it happened to me. Like a few times, it's kind of like I overslept. Somebody would come knock on my window and I wake up. But that time, I'm guessing, because usually the guy that keep track of all that.
Sure.
He was an older man who knew I was going to school, who used to be like, if you don't see me, come knock on my window. He wasn't working that day. So every once in a while, I'd have this little mishap. So I'm like 5 minutes late past my break. But that time, I guess he was like the short I booked the Campbell's back to where they were like, yeah, dude, bye.
Well, I would say to that, that's a controllable mistake. Let's say you're at the peak of your life and you have optimal discipline and you are covering those mistakes. You sleeping fully before your shift so you don't have to take a nap at work and prevent that even happening. I would say your fortune probably wouldn't change.
But
This what I'm saying, that's kind of like what I do though. That paranoid phase I said I kind of somewhat go into. It's like that extreme discipline that comes into my life. It's kind of like I can't be catch slipping because if I'm slipping, life will, I can't be getting caught with my pants down in a sense. That's when like I'm super paranoid. I'm super disciplined. I wake up on time. I'll set up 20 alarms if I got something to do. I'll do that for about a week or so and then eventually it'll fade off. But I guess
I mean, like you said something that's very important because, like, usually I think the biggest thing is people usually not pay attention to is the mind,
Right?
Because it's the biggest thing you got. Like usually I think we just sometimes you're not focused on how powerful your mind is. I like every decision you make, everything that happened, how to control it because sometimes when something happened to you and you was not even prepared for it. That you don't have to deal with it because you never it's not something. I don't ever say it's not. It's some people thinking about it like therapy or stuff like. I don't think you don't have to go to that level. I think if you just be mindful of every decision you make, and then when it happened, like not the way you expected, then you can deal with it, right? And then another thing I don't do, I stopped doing like the New Year's resolution shit. I don't do that. Right. I just feel like why I have to wait 2026 to start my shit because I always because my new thing is always like tomorrow. Right. You know what I mean? I'm always like I'm in that mindset. Like I'm like you said, manifestation is a big deal. Like you manifestation of what you want to happen every day, and I do that. Some people don't do it. You know what I mean? Like some people feel like they don't think like further than they don't even like my manifestation. Sometimes it can be like pure fantasy, right? But still, it's just something that you think about, and you never know. When the situation happened, when that time come, how to deal with it.
I would say something I grapple with is manifestation versus God's plan. Like that's something I always try to, when I'm forecasting for the future, I always have that, not margin for error, but margin for God's will adjustment off course, for example. And that was also a great point that you brought up about longevity. And I'll touch on the New Year's resolution. I think the problem with New Year's resolution is called the Dunning-Kruger effect. When you start off a new task, most people discount the gradient. Once you have that initial burst of energy and that it's like you get that dopamine from learning something new and you feel like you want to tell people about it like that. For like when you're in a relationship, the puppy love, you had a puppy love for the journey. But most people don't plan for how will you manage when you stall? How will you manage when things are hard? And it isn't just so fascinating because success is boring, bro. The 10,000 hour rule, putting 10,000 hours doing something is going to be boring at some point. How will you manage that boredom? Because that's where success is made. That's why if you look at Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Sam Altman, they don't look like no party animals. You know what I'm saying? They look like they can focus consistently, even by themselves at times.
When nobody's watching.
On a task that is not releasing super much dopamine.
And also that's the thing, kind of like something you actually said. You said 10,000 hours is boring. And I'm glad that you said that because I feel like that's something that goes very underrated. Because a lot of times you say, you go hard, you work up every day, you give it 100%, like stuff like that. And it's kind of like, okay, I woke up Monday, give it 100%. I can go 6 months, give you 100%. But then at the end of the day, I'm a human being. It's just... You can tell you give yourself 100%, but eventually, like I tell people, they say, you get off the horse 10 times, you get up on 11. But the one thing I always say, I feel like that always goes undercover. Every time you get down from that horse, it takes you a little bit longer and longer to get back up on it. Because you're a human, whether you want to admit it or not.
I agree in some point, but I think as long as it doesn't matter if you get up a week later. I mean, in every situation, people always say, like you said, every situation that happened, like let's say you said New Year's resolution, you want to start something new, right?
Sure.
And that's where people always fail at. You just go and let's say you decide to go to the gym, right? And you're like, okay, this year I'm gonna do going to the gym. And you start going like the first 2 days, you motivated. That's my biggest part. I go to the gym 2 days. And then third days, I never go back again for another week. And then you go back 2 days, I never go back. But at the end of the day, that one time that I wanted to do it, I said, okay, 2 days. The next day I didn't want to go. I still go over there, even though if I sit in the parking lot or I go inside the gym, even though I don't do no work, but I still go. So sometimes like that's the boring part. Like every time you go, you get that hype.
Right.
And then it's gonna come down. Yes. The point is like you have to keep going. Oh, if you wanna like people that wanna quit something too, sometimes it's just like you don't just quit. It's not happening. You don't just quit. You're gonna come back to it. What you can do is, because you have to replace it with something else. Yes. That's the best way to do it.
It's either you replace it with something else or get back to it.
Yes.
Later. I mean,
you know what I mean? So like, it's just like, if you was drinking all the time, okay, you was drinking like 5 glasses of alcohol. Drink 4, drink a bottle of water. So, drink juice. I'm just saying, you have to find a way to replace it. You cannot just say, oh, I'm not drinking. It's not going to happen. Unless you like built yourself to that level. I can do it now because I built myself to that level. I say, I quit. But not everybody can just, it's something you have to train your brain or train yourself to do
that
it.
part.
That's
And
people don't do that.
That's a great point. And I've been working on, I'm trying to get the acronym down, right? But I call it AIMS. And it's a pathway and a framework to how to break bad habits. The first one is A, awareness. It takes honesty. You have to say, okay, I am where I am because of my thought patterns and habits, period. Look at your account. What you spending your money on? This is a habit, Where are you in relation to where you want to be? How is your gym habits? Like write these things down. Take some time. We spend so much time scrolling on Instagram. We need to be evaluating ourselves. And that's what you said earlier about me being so self-aware. I spent time doing this, being aware. Where am I? Where am I financially? Where am I spiritually? How much am I praying, right? And get a baseline for where you are. And what would a GPS be if it never showed you where you are? You know what I'm saying? And then the next step from the A to the I. I is intention. Where do you want to go? We chase on this hamster wheel, but where are we really going? Like what life do you imagine? What version of yourself do you want to become? And you map that out, right? Because now when you map that out, you can reverse engineer. What would that person think? What would that person's daily routine be? Now you can steal their habits and then get and reach that course. The second, or the M, mindset shift. And this is how you go about doing it. Instead of you trying to have the attitude of defeating your old self in your mind and saying, I won't do this anymore. Just focus on the new you and say, I will do this. I am doing this. And I know what you're thinking is the willpower, because willpower drains the more you use it. So it can't just be willpower to make the mindset change. And that's where the S comes in, systems. Follow people that post fitness content and start looking at the videos. I bet money your algorithm show you whatever your goal is. Look it up. Keep it in your algorithm. That way it's always in your mind. Get you a gym membership to where you seeing that money leave your account. And you like, man, I need to go to that. Get some weights at the crib. Set up systems that make it to where you don't have to rely on willpower all the time. If you're trying to build wealth, automatic deposits into your retirement account, automatic 10% into your savings account. So that money don't even touch your pockets for you to have to grapple with, should I spend it or should I not? Or what should I do with it? Automate it, set up systems and let those systems work for you as you're building your willpower, and keep pouring the seeds of the new identity into your mind. And I think that's a framework, because when we set goals, we really don't think too much into the process of goal setting. Like, oh, I want to just become a bodybuilder this year. That's my New Year's resolution. What do bodybuilders do on a daily basis? It's not so much as just jump into going to the gym. Like, what's the water intake like? You know what I'm saying? Like, follow some bodybuilders. Listen to a podcast that a bodybuilder's on. Get his best practices. It's all about learning from other people's mistakes too. You gotta read. You gotta immerse yourself in what you want to become. So I think as we go forward and setting these goals, and that's what this book is about, like setting a financial goal. That's one of the earliest chapters. What is your goal? Now that you have the goal, now you know who you need to follow. You need to get around people that are in process of reaching this goal or have reached this goal. You know what I'm saying? And now you put the systems in place. If your goal is riches, as we talked about, put these systems in place and just keep believing it's possible, because as the Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. Your mind is powerful. So you got to think about what you really want to become. And I think we think about what we want to become, and we have faith in it, but what? Faith without works is dead. You know what I'm saying? So you have to put in those works, and like the fruits of the spirit in the Bible that prove faith. It's 3 of them that I want to focus on, right? Self-control. You have to forego that dopamine hit for your longer goal. You have to forego the short-term comfort for the long-term pursuit, right? And then you have patience. You have to be willing and able to tolerate delay and suffering and still have the faith that you will accomplish your goal, right? And then the last one is hope. You have to be like, some people I go around and I instantly got to leave. Because I'm like, bro, I'll tell you, like, for example, my cousin cuts my hair yesterday. And I had to get chopped up for this, had to look nice, GQ. So he asked me, he's like, yeah, you got a new car, huh? I said, yeah, because I flooded the last one. You know how the drains, y'all was talking to Uncle Craig about that not too long ago, Craig Marks. He was saying the drains are bad. Man, I was driving down 12th Street and flooded my car out. I had to get another one. So he was asking, like, I thought your car was a different color. I was like, nah, man, I had flooded it. But he was like, what's the next car you want? I was like, man, I got to get that Rolls Royce Spectre. And he's like, Rolls Royce? I'm like, Rolls Royce, because you got to hope for something.
Yeah.
You can't tell yourself, this is my ceiling, because as sure as manure stinks, that will be your ceiling. So you have to believe, you have to have hope. So I think if you have self-control, patience, and hope, whatever you have faith in, at some point you're going to reach it. But it's critical that you have those.
Yeah, but it's a good, like, in the best thing, like, usually, like, I always give that example. People usually say, oh yeah, I'm gonna win the lottery, right?
Right.
I mean, not even like when I win the lottery, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And then you ask him, oh, was the last time you played the lottery? Oh no, I never played it. So how you expect to win the lottery, but you never bought a ticket? You get what I'm saying? So like a lot of people always got, I want to do this. I'm one day when I got money or when I got my beautiful houses. Okay, cool. But what are you doing to make it happen? You know what I'm saying? Like, even though like you cannot just say things and not put the work behind it. You know what I mean? Even smaller that it is, it doesn't have to be like, like they say, one step at a time. You don't just jump from one step to 10 to 20. You just got to do it one by one. And then even now when nobody's watching, you don't have to show your work to nobody. You just know deep down what you're doing. And then when the time comes, like, oh shit, I didn't know you was that dude. Like, yeah. You just have like, I've always been that dude. In your mind, you always been that dude, but you just never show it. When the people says like, oh, I didn't know you can do this. I didn't think like I have to show nobody, but that's the problem with people. Like your mind is your best friend and your worst enemy at the same time. 100%. If you can manage, if you can know like, I'm going to do this, no matter how much like you hated it.
Yes.
I got to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Sure.
Do you think I want that? No, but I have to. So if you can just like, if you got to go to work, you got to put your mind, hey, 4 o'clock in the morning, I got to get up to go to work. Why don't you do it like for yourself? Like, you know what? Let's say I'm going to the gym at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's for you. If you can, you have to have somebody else force you to do things for your own self. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Sometimes you got to suffer, but it's your mind. It's because you might be like, man, today is your day off. And you can think about it. We don't have to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, exactly.
We can wake up at 7 and then you got a cool rest time. Everything is good. And you know what I'm saying? Like, it sounds good. Like, your mind is fighting. You're like, nah, man, we're going to get up. It's going to be like, it's cold outside. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's the part, like, you just like, your mind never stops.
Yeah, it's going to be back and forth, yeah.
Until you just like, man, fuck it. I'm going to get up. But then when you start doing it, that's the best part. When you do it so many times like this, now you're like, I think it's 21 days, but after that, your mind flipped on you.
Yeah.
So like 4 o'clock, you're like, man, I can sleep for 7. Your mind be like, man, 4 o'clock, we gotta get up. You're like, man, I want some more sleep. He said, no, you don't. See what I'm saying? So you can find your mind making like become the other way. He was convincing you to stay for 7 o'clock. Now you get your mind to a point where like, let's say for instance right now, if I don't go to the gym, I felt like shitty. I felt like I don't accomplish nothing for the day.
Yes.
But back then, it was convincing me not to go. You know what I'm saying? So you can have like, that's what I'm saying. Your mind can be your best friend and your worst enemy. If you can manage it, you train it. It's take time. It's like the time, like it's boring. Like you say, it's very boring. But you have to keep going. And
that's a great point. What comes to mind is that in Galatians, it's like the fruits of the spirit versus the fruits of the flesh, and this constant battle of what your body wants versus what you know is best for you. And I feel like the further along you are and you finally winning, I feel like that's when that voice gets louder. because now you finally been financially consistent, and you can. I forget one of y'all we were talking about this off camera. You can get that Porsche. Now that voice is louder than the temptation when you couldn't afford it. So it's like, I feel like self-control is required every day. It's even though you get used to the habit, those negative thoughts, I feel like the negative thoughts are always, maybe not always, but oftentimes just as loud as the positive thoughts, no matter how long you've cultivated it. So I really feel like it's always, every time you wake up, because you see these, like you see people that were super successful in their lives, and like then they had some kind of criminal activity, because like I won't drop names, but you see that the more you achieve because you have mastered using your brain in the right way, now the world is at your disposal. So you have that many more distractions and temptations to have willpower to reject. So I think that's why it's important to like keep those barriers too, not just systems, but I won't follow this girl. You know what I'm saying? I won't follow this, whatever it is. You know, I'm not going to the club because I'm trying not to drink. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you have to go further than just the mind thing. You got to get out in the world and really put boundaries around it. And another thing, you said another point I wanted to follow up with about the value of secrecy in completing your goals and setting goals. Because you should not want, like if you have any goal and you go tell it to somebody, I can almost promise you 85 times out of 10, they're going to be like, what? Like, and try to talk you out of it.
Yes.
It happens all the time. So results are the best proof. I didn't, like, people still to this day, like, bro, you wrote a book? I didn't go around like, hey, I'm about to write this book. No, I had my head down, boring nights, after work, tired, like, I'm going to finish this book. Like, this is the last thing I do. I'm going to finish this book. You can't tell people your goals, because what does it accomplish? Some people speak life into it, and then you risk, like me, idolizing that.
Hey, you still watching, right? So that means you're enjoying it. So follow, like, share, subscribe.
All right, let's get back to the show.
Yeah, I was watching a video that says a lot of time whenever people got a certain goal and then they go tell somebody, there's a satisfaction of feeling you get whenever you tell somebody that. And, and it's that good feeling that somewhat resemble that same satisfaction you would have gotten if you would have achieved that said goal.
Without the
and
work.
then a lot of people will, it's like whenever you tell people, hey man, you know I'm about to do this and that, and you get the day and they're like, oh shit, really, I'm happy for you, whatever they reply to you. That satisfaction you get, in a sense, discourage you from keep going after that goal, because you already get that weird satisfaction of somebody somewhat believing in you that you're gonna do such and such. It's a weird video, but the way they explained it, it made complete sense.
Right. Yeah, but that's why I don't like two things. Like I don't like telling people, because then first, when you tell somebody you got to do something, if it doesn't happen, now then what? Second part of it, when I tell somebody about it, then they got a negative reaction about it. Because so whatever, like somebody's gonna tell me something, like let's say for instance right now, you say, man, I'm about to go to Houston. I'm like, man, you're like, okay, 2 ways you can go, like, oh yeah, man, cool. All right, man, just call me when you get there, right?
Right.
Or be like, man, you know you can get in a car accident, you know, the highway,
Traffic is
so
bad.
traffic. But when you was going to Houston, you already had that in your mind. You already know that. You don't want somebody to come and reinforce that negative side of it, because you already put all that into consideration.
But also,
and
there's
decide
two
choose to
ways.
that.
There's 2 ways to also telling people something. I've also done it myself, to where I've told people something that I'm gonna do, just for the sake of them keeping me accountable. It's just because I know it's kind of like if I tell Hector, hey man, you know what? Guess what? By summer I'm gonna have a 6-pack or something, right? But I know if summer comes around, I don't have that 6-pack. He's gonna talk cash money shit, and then just for the sake of, man, I don't want to deal with that. That keeps me on track. I've done that a few times too. It's kind of like I'll tell somebody something just for the sake of, like, for example, I've done it to my partner. I'll be like, guess what? This week, I'll make sure I run 10 miles, right? And then the first day I'm pumped up, I get 3-4 miles out the way. And then next day, I'm like, man, fuck that. but I know by Sunday, she's going to be like, I thought you said you're going 10 miles, lazy ass, whatever. And I'm like, shit, that keeps me on track too. I keep on going. But like I said, there's like 2 ways where you can tell somebody about it and either not do it and look stupid, or you can tell somebody about it and do it. Now that keeps you accountable to it. Now you got to go do it.
And that's a great point. I learned a stat, and it's a hierarchy of friends, right? You have friendships of proximity, right? So that's your cousins, people you were in the, like, people you're on the same football team with, people in the same city's neighborhood, went to the same school with, and then friends of mutual admiration. And that's what you're describing, those friends that I know that you will hold me accountable to this because you are a disciplined person in your own right in some way. I admire something about you, and because I admire that about you, I'm confident that if I tell you this goal, I know you value goal pursuit and attainment the same way I do. So I'll tell you this goal knowing that you'll speak life, but you won't coddle me about it. You'll speak life and hold me accountable. I want to tell goals to those people because they have ideas. Hey, when you write that book, make sure your cover is this. Make an ebook, make an audio book. You know, some people don't flip through pages. Make one for Kindle, etc. So I would like to, posit to my people listening, when you set a goal, don't go tell everybody that you just talked to because envy builds up too. You don't want people praying against you, praying on your downfall. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you earmark who are the people that will, and I've heard it said like this, they will, they will light your fire, not urinate on it. Like, I know people right to this day, I would never tell them a goal I have because I know what they'll say. Like, you're not going to do it. Or they gonna tell me every negative thing about it. Like, why you should not pursue it.
In the sense, though, some people, sometimes you tell them something, they just can't. Sometimes people can't see it.
Right.
Because they don't do it themselves, right? Exactly. So they can't see the visions you got. So they always gonna be like, you can't do this. There is no way. He's projecting himself into his you because he can't. That limitation he got in his brain. You're like, there is no, you can't write a book. 100%. I said, yeah, I'm gonna write a book. There is no way you can write a book. How you gonna write a book? I never see you read. It's just like he's talking he's talking to himself. He's not talking to you.
Exactly.
Because he never read, he never look at the dictionary, he never watch nothing. He don't know what to do this. And he's telling you, you can't do this. Yeah. I never see you do anything, Usually that's what people do.
You know what just crossed my mind? I'm this kind of guy. It's kind of like my thing is the way when my mind thinking when I'm thinking about something, I think two versions of it. I think this version, and then halfway there I'm gonna stop and be like, hold on, can't that be the only version? And then I'm gonna come with the opposite version of it. And like it's weird. Just like with what you were saying, you was talking about how they got some people that will say something. What got, and then they will project their future on you or whatever, right? Yeah. And I remember I told you that I had an ex who just woke up one day and they just said they're gonna be a movie star. You remember that story, right?
Yeah. Good luck.
Okay. Wow,
I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's that one thing you don't tell people. That's what I'm like, my mind will go this way and then think the opposite. Yes, you tell people they'll project their future. Now my mind goes, wait, what about when somebody just wake up one day and be like, hey, guess what? I'm into that out of the blue.
Right.
And I'm talking about woke up one day and just say, man, guess what? I just want to be a movie star.
Right.
Of course you know it. You're like, cool, whatever. You'd be a good Anne Hathaway. I remember that's why who Anne Hathaway was. I'm like, yeah, cool. I could see the Devil Wear Prada. Keep it pushing. Make lightweight of it. And then she started taking photo shoots and just starting emailing. It was just a weird situation. Like, when I mean by weird situation, it was like one of those things where it's kind of like, I'm aware of what he's saying. You do not want to be the guy that tells somebody their dream ain't going to work. It doesn't matter how ridiculous it may seem to you, because like he was saying, you understand maybe I might not be able to get the full picture.
Right.
So therefore, when they bring that thing that sounds stupid to me, especially if I care about that person, I got to ask questions, make sure they're within the right freaking mind, before, you let them go ahead and chase that dream. And I remember that one day she woke up and she wanted to be a movie star. Okay, cool. And she just started taking screenshot, like a professional screenshot, sending him an email to people in New York and Cali. It's kind of like, I don't want to be the one that be like, dude, are you crazy? You never did nothing in your life. Like, you ain't, dude, outside of Instagram, you ain't never been behind a camera. Like, what the hell?
Right.
That's the negative part. But also, there's a part of me that be like, you never know.
But that's a great point, because what you describe is when people break out of the box that you have them in. And that's, bro, the author of Harry Potter, at some point she wasn't a writer. She had to write her first piece before she became a writer. We don't come out of the womb with
all the knowledge.
You always start out. And when you think of the founder of KFC, and how old he was when he founded KFC, like, bro, it's a world full of late bloomers. Samuel L. Jackson, he wasn't an actor till his late 30s.
I think he was like, he said that.
What's that other dude? I know him.
That old dude that's been old since forever. Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman, exactly.
And also, what's his name? Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford didn't get his first acting role till he was 30. He used to be a carpenter. But you hear the stories all the time. Yeah.
I'll tell you this though, you must not minimize your dreams. I am very leery of telling people my goals, but I'll say this. The goal acquisition and when you actually get it is the best proof. And what I mean by that, right? How many people you know that went to the Ivy League from Lake Charles?
None of you.
No. Yeah.
Right. But because I did it, I know another, my younger sister. She goes to Cornell now.
Yo,
so
yeah,
you
man.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't need everybody talk for what? Show somebody something. If I want you to believe you can be great in life, I will show by example. I'm not going to preach to you. Like, I went back to my high school the other day and I was just thinking, man, what can I say to these guys? I'm not no preacher. I want to show you by example. I'll show you my routine, my work ethic. I'll show you my acquisition because it grows the box that you have for yourself. Man, if Gerron from Lake Charles can go to Yale, you know what I'm saying? Like, and just to be transparent, bro, I didn't go to no private school. It wasn't that kind of party. My parents not rich. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was hustle and it was God. Like, if I can do it, you can do it. And my little sister picked up that message, and it's crazy because I ain't never once told it to her.
Yeah, I mean, like just like
lead
this,
by
like,
example.
it's just like
Exactly.
when you come from Haiti, it's the same thing. You come from
Exactly.
Haiti, you didn't like. When I came here, there's no example. I just know I had to get it. Then now I got my whole, all my new generation from my family. All they want to be like, they want to be like me. You know what I'm saying? You just would do what you're supposed to do. Then somebody would take it. Somebody would just
Set
like
the standard.
Somebody probably feel like it's too much work to do it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, as long as you, like you say, you put the work in, and then some people were just like, man, okay, if he done it, I can do it too.
Exactly.
So-
And yeah, I'll let you get that thought out, but I want to say it's not in some people. So that's why I'm not always going around, because it say don't cast your pearls onto swines for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Some people, no matter how much you show them, they gonna go on their own path and they don't even want their minds to expand. God is going to deal with them in his own way, so you can't feel obligated. I only want to talk to people that are on the cusp of it. Like, I talk to some people that like, I'm considering going to school, but I'm not sure if I can do it. Why can't you? You know, because you have the seed planted already. Now somebody just needs to water it. I will be that person that waters your seed. Anybody I talk to, I want to support you. I want to reinstate in your mind, reassure you in your mind that you can achieve whatever you want to achieve. I haven't achieved my wildest dreams yet, but I'm on the pathway to it. You know what I'm saying? And like, anybody that's like me, you can do it too. That's the moral of the story. Anybody that want to be an author, I never really met any authors like that, to be honest. I became an author. I didn't, to be honest, to be truthful, I was going to go to Tulane. I had no idea, bro. I'll kid you not. I was an intelligent child. I kid you not. I had no idea what Yale was. I've heard of Harvard. I had no idea what Yale was. I did not wake up and be like, I want to go to the Ivy League. But I hustled as if I can go big, and I went that way. So it's like God gonna bring you the picture, and he gonna bring you the target of what the big vision is. As long as you carrying yourself like you can and deserve to be successful, the Bible tell you this: be fruitful and multiply. That was what God told Adam. Be fruitful, multiply, take dominion of the earth. You know what I'm saying? Be fruitful, multiply, create things. That's what I wanted to be fruitful. And take dominion, own things. Like, I'm an owner. Like, the stock market makes me an owner, and that's why I was passionate about the stock market. I'm building wealth inside God's will, because he want me to take dominion. He want me to be an owner of things. He want me to create things into this world. So I want to tell you, humanly speaking, things can be impossible, but with God, nothing is impossible as long as it's aligned with his will. And that's not my words. That's directly.
Yeah, but I mean, I understand where you're coming from. Just like, to me, like, I'm not a religious kind of guy.
Yeah.
So everything I do, I always never give praise to nobody. So I think I did it myself.
Yeah.
So no matter how you're looking at it, that's me. I never put the religious side of it.
To each their own, yeah.
Yeah. So I was just like, but what I toggle with sometimes I call him and I say it like, so even though, let's say, all the goals you want to achieve, all the success, what is success? Right. Like, because sometimes like it's like somebody has success because this guy did this, so I think I should be doing that.
Right.
I like, is it even worth it? Like, sometimes you take all this thing out. Like, what is really, like, what's the whole purpose of living? What's like, why we taking, like, I think the person that's the most, that's really free.
Right.
That's what I'm telling you. I think he's a homeless person is the freest people in the world. Somebody that can just let all this thing go and just be free.
Man, ain't gotta do nothing, ain't
He's
gotta
gotta
be
do
nothing, ain't gotta say nothing. It's just
That makes
You know what
a
I'm
lot
saying? Like
of
that's
sense.
just the true free.
And
Because,
you know,
because right now I can't see myself being not in my house, not having my clothes, not having my shoes, not having my clothes, not having
so
all this.
that makes you a prisoner
You're
sometimes to
accustomed-
something.
yeah.
Yeah, so
accustomed to
now
that.
like, but then, so now you adding a lot of stress. You gotta keep up with all the shit, right? And then like all the stress you adding this to your life.
Yeah.
Life is not giving you the
Yeah,
stress.
you can't say it's the devil tip. Nah,
No,
ain't the devil tip.
it's all this,
not
all
nothing,
the,
man.
all the
It's-
stress you
it's-
adding
yeah.
is you adding it.
Sure.
The true freedom is let all this shit go and be okay with it. And this is something that not a lot of people can do it.
You know what's funny?
You know what I'm saying? Like, so what is the whole, to me sometimes I ask it, what's the whole
What are we
purpose?
chasing? Yeah.
Well,
you know what's
just-
funny?
it's the chase.
Just food for thought here. Have you ever? We all seen crackhead in gas stations. For some reason, I got this weird infatuation with crackhead in gas station. When I'm about infatuation, hey, let me let it out. It's just kind of like he was saying. You got this guy here. You already know it. So we already know he's happy as shit. Right. You can't get nowhere near the level of happiness he is, even though it's an artificial feeling, but it's still a feeling nonetheless. And on top of it all, he's free. He ain't got nothing at all to worry about. The man can activate happiness just like that.
Yes.
But what is the
It's just
No, I mean, I'm just saying, to me, like when I ask, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna do that. I already set those precedent to me, like
but
the
it's just
premises.
something though. I feel don't need to interrupt you. It's just something. A lot of people will look at a crackhead and you'll judge him. Be like, man, what the fuck? But me, I look at it as something that just got the balls to do. If that makes sense. It's just you got the balls to. Could you imagine? Right now you got no cars. You got no car, no house, no shoes, no clothes, nothing. That sounds like a nightmare to you, right? You got to live under a bridge. It's cold as hell right there right now. You got to yeah. That sounds like a nightmare to where it's kind of like basically what he was saying. You become a prisoner to, I guess you may say, to this
Comfort.
society.
Yeah.
Yes.
Comfort, the house. You got to stay on your mortgage. You got to stay on your car insurance, so on and so forth. But you got this man here. For some odd reason, somehow, some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, actually, activate true freedom.
He activates some. Are you into anime? Not really.
not really,
Okay.
Activate true freedom.
I've
I think
never
that's
heard of
freedom.
ultra instinct. Well, does that mean something?
Say that?
Ultra instinct. If you're into anime, you know what that means. Okay. Well, it's like if you're into anime, it's kind of, there's an ultra instinct. It's like a level that dude achieve, like when he's fighting, to where you can even touch him. You can see your move 20 moves ahead of kind of stuff. That's what they call ultra instinct. That like I look at the crackhead, they activate a certain level of an ultra instinct where they don't give a damn about none of that.
And then this is like to piggyback on what he's saying. But then again, this is where I come in at. I'm thinking, who am I, or who the fuck are we to say
you gotta have out.
his life is your life is better than his?
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like because the man realize true freedom, he's not putting himself in nothing, but doesn't mean okay. When I was born, like all the shit that I want,
you
I
ain't
seen
had
on
none of
TV.
it. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I wanted to come to the United States. I wanted to have a nice house. I wanted to have nice clothes. But let's say when I was born, there was none of the shit for me to even look at it. There was no TV, nothing, none of that. How could I make those decisions from? I would have.
How
nothing
would
to-
you become a slave? I guess
You know what I'm
may say,
saying?
to
So
the
because
cog, to the
somebody like,
system.
let's say somebody like live in, you never see those tribes. They don't
Right.
see nothing. They think like when I'm looking at those guys, I'm like, man, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? But they happy.
They
You
don't
know
know
what I'm
nothing.
saying?
They
don't
got no
have- they
TV.
don't-
They're not
they
exposed
got this
to
li-
anything outside of the
You know what
low.
I'm saying? So all the shit we have, I'm just saying. Sometimes like I think sometimes people too focused on
Accumulation.
yeah, you know. But I think like it's not true freedom is like I think that's what you need to look for.
Right.
Like
Is
something
that
like if you
true?
lose everything, like
What are you? Okay,
You know?
basically like you were saying, you said you lost football and then you went through this whole crisis. What are you? And you
Right.
got this dude that done let go of all kind of identity.
yes.
He's not that guy with them Nike shoes. He ain't got no shoes. He's not that dude with the nice shirts.
And then he don't care. He don't care because right now, if I bet you right now, if somebody see you, right, John, like that's the fucked up thing. Like you go to Yale, right? I get you right now. You cannot go to work to Walmart by any means necessary. You can never see yourself working at Walmart.
I've done
Even
it, though.
I'm just saying, why now?
Oh no.
That's what I'm saying. So there is a level you get to, but then like, man, just like what people gonna think of you, right? All this learning, like, oh, I thought you went to Yale. What you doing at Walmart?
I hear that so many times.
You know what I'm saying?
But hey, life is life. They man gotta do what a man gotta do.
But think about it though. But that's what I'm saying. So to me, that's what the homeless people or the people that don't care about. I think they they got a depth. They operate in a different level than we are.
I feel like they've achieved
Because
you probably never thought about it.
because
I'm
it's just
telling
like, you know what I mean? It's like, you don't have a house.
They've achieved a level of something. Think about it, dude. Like, bro, look at you. You swagged out, right? And earlier you had a whole photo shoot about your look. Like, you care about that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Me, when them shoes come out, like, I gotta get them. Like, if this car come out, I'm watching video. Like, I become a slave to the society around me, whether I want to admit it or not.
Sure.
You might be looking at this homeless person, right? You're on your way to work, you're gassing up. You're like, man, look at this dude here, man. Like, begging people for $5 to get a high. Judge them probably even. And he might be looking at you be like, look at this dumbass being a slave going to work while I'm out here chilling. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's a level which is like when somebody can look at you and then they can say, hey man, you're homeless, and then that don't even bother you.
It don't bother you.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, dude, you never thought, maybe I'm tripping.
I usually have this discussion in my head. Like, I'm thinking, like, I call him, like, he's a weird, because sometimes I ask, like, man, okay, we want to have all this shit. True. That's why I think, like, people was not happy.
Right.
I think, like, let's say you want to be a millionaire,
rich
right?
and
You want to be rich. Then when you get all the rich, because money, there's a level of money when you have it, money don't even mean nothing no more,
Diminishing
right?
return,
So
yep.
because that's like, you got so much money, like, man, you can't even spend it.
Yeah.
So then what life become after that?
Right.
So what's the whole purpose? Because you can't focus on that. Because because I got a situation where I didn't have no money. I know I never had great money, but compared to where I'm from,
Right.
and I see the situation where I had a bunch of shoes, a bunch of clothes. I never can even wear them. Even though I have all days off and shit, I got my car, I can go places. I don't even want to fucking go do it. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you just like, you realize, man, I wanted to have all this. Then I have it. There's no purpose
But
of me
think
to
about
doing
it, though. It's just about this weird addiction. Think like you were saying. You wanted these shoes, right? You probably looked at them. They probably, you bought them, got them on, felt good. You went to the club. You felt feeling yourself, right?
Right.
And give it about a month or two. It's just another shoe. It's just sitting in a closet. Don't mean the
Congrats
damn
on
thing. Whenever you put it on, it don't give you that feeling anymore. You can seek it all you want. That shoe will never give you the same feeling you had the first day you had it. Guess what you do?
Sure.
You seek another shoe.
Right.
And then if you like shoes, you're a slave to it. You can't help. If you like cars, you're a slave to it. If you like whatever it is you like, you're a slave to that, whether you want to admit it or not. But yet there was this guy. Whether you may want to say he's a slave to drugs, you may even want to say that. But outside of that, he done saying, guess what? This thing, because I always say this, the goal to life is happiness.
Right.
That's the main goal of life. It doesn't matter to a career you seek, to what you do.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
No. We're going back and forth with this all the time. I feel like whatever it is you're doing in life, the goal is somehow, some way, shape, or form, is how you feel inside, right? Like who you dating, kind of car you drive, kind of clothes you wear. It's just how does it make you feel? Like, right? The level of happiness. That's the goal for me. Right. You want money. Why? Because you can buy stupid stuff. You can flex on the gram, whatever it is. Right? Is that how it make you feel? That's the goal. And I feel like a person who just say, we do drugs, we drink liquor, or whatever it is that they do. It's like that level of happiness they reach, even though it's not a real happiness. But let's just say if you haven't seen your mom, your grandma.
How you know it's not a real happiness?
But it's fake because it's going to fade away. It's something that's like, okay.
But
that happiness.
Let me
ask you a question. Let me tell you. Okay, I'm going to ask you this question that's going to answer it for you.
Okay.
You say, how do I know it's not a real, right?
Yeah.
But let's just say, the happiness you get, let's just say if you've been out of town for a month or two and you come back here and your son hug you, that happiness of seeing him after a month, and then please tell me what kind of drug can ever replicate.
That's not real?
No, I'm not saying that's not real, but that level of happiness, can any drug replicate that?
I mean, you don't know. Yes, it can, because every happiness is different. I'm just saying, happiness is a state of mind, right? It's never stays. That's why, like, I know people that's like, I want to be happy. It's not the thing. To me, in my head, it's just like, you can be happy right now, everything. Just right now, I'm happy. Like, I'm happy. I'm hanging out with everybody. I'm happy. And then, like 30 minutes later, and I just started thinking of something else. All the happiness is gone.
Right.
You never, like, it's a state of mind. It's at a moment. It never stays. Being happy is not like
It's like constant something.
it's not somebody
24/7 happy.
it's not somebody supposed to go for. It's not like, I think, to be proud of like what you accomplished. Like, I'm proud of myself.
Right.
So that make me happy. You know what I'm saying? To me, it's just like being proud, like people seeing like what I accomplished. But again, why the fuck would I give a shit what people think? Like, why I'm doing this and the cost of like trying to get all this. For what? What's the purpose of it? What's the purpose of life? Why was like, okay, people say that purpose is what you decided to be. So like, let's say, why are we doing all this? To me, that's what I'll be thinking. Like, and then it sounds like crazy talk, but because nobody ever allowed themselves to put themselves in the situation, because then when you get on that, you realize, oh shit. Like I'm talking about, you can go like, people don't want to leave no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you have to put yourself in a situation like, if I lose everything right now, how my life's gonna be. Like, not worried about like, oh, people gonna say, man, you from Yale, man, you should have made it. But like he's telling you some shit. Then when he go home, you don't even realize how that affected you when he said that, because you feel like people now, man, what the fuck? Like, I didn't know I gotta fucking have millions of dollars because I go do Yale,
You know what? Basically, like, people will judge. People are always gonna stand from their point of view and then tell you how they see things, and they're gonna tell you that's the only way to see things because that's the only way they can see things. We all do it,
Right.
And a lot of time when you're saying people will say stuff, me, the way I got my mindset of my life set up is there's only a few people. I will sit there if they tell me the sky is purple, I'll even take it into consideration. Just to that's how much I value what they say. Even if they tell me 1 + 1 is 20, I'm gonna sit there and be like, so it's never been too long. I'll even consider it because that's how I value data. But outside of those people, everybody else, I couldn't care less. And then I know people will say, oh my God. But a lot of time, I guess that's where people be like, oh, he's arrogant. It's not just I'm arrogant. It's just like, I don't know you, dude. Anything, I will show it. Right. It's not because I'm being rude or I'm raising. It's just, like, for example, I'll walk in a room, which happened before. I went to a bar. Went into a bar, walked into a bar, went to the bar, sat down, get a beer, played school on my phone, was there for an hour, and then got up, left, and went home. Nothing to do it. Don't know nobody there. And then after that, everybody, the owner of the bar, which is somebody I know personally, was saying, oh, people saying I was mean, I was barely talking to nobody. I walked in there, I thought I was just better than everybody else. I'm like, dude, I didn't even open my mouth and said a word. But it's just the fact that I know I walked in there, I don't know none of these people. So therefore, what's the point of me sitting there paying attention to them? I don't know them, they don't know me.
Sure.
I ain't got nothing to gain from them, they ain't got nothing to gain from me. I came here to get a beer and a drink in the bar, I'm just sitting there. I'm not bothering. I thought anybody that did that, like somebody tell me, hey man, you saw that guy that came in and you walk, I'll be like, yeah, that dude came in, didn't bother nobody and left. That's it.
Yeah.
But yet someone's gonna be like, translate that into, hey, you think you're better than everybody.
But that's because your presence can be intimidating. People, like I learned this in one of my psychology classes at school, is that everybody, your body, my body, everybody's, we're constantly evaluating the broadcast of a frequency coming off of somebody that we're around, like a remote trying to catch a channel. So it's perfectly believable that when you walk in a room, you can raise the frequency of the people that want their frequencies to be raised, the people that want to be a noble person or whatever virtues that you exhibit when you walk in. Or you can have those people that are battling insecurities. You can have those people that just have animosity, having a bad day on a negative state and a negative frequency. And you can walk in and they can feel that. And it's like you didn't even say nothing, but y'all fields are colliding and they feeling that tension. So now they, of course, not going to reflect on themselves like, what is my trauma or my pattern that is causing me to feel belittled or even attacked by this guy just walking in? So I truly get what you're saying. And that happens to me all the time. I walk in a room and, I'm a closed book. I'm not one for, a few words. You walk in a room and then it's worse when your reputation precedes you. Like I see Vadim, he was on the show looking clean, iced up. So he walk in the room, now they like, oh, he got a podcast. Who do you think he is? You know what I'm saying? So I really don't have a solution for that one. I feel like that is what it is. But I had a question for you a few seconds ago. For example, at my lowest point, I had someone to call to and cling to. For someone that's not religious, is it not pressure when you had like just the day-to-day and the monotony of going through life? Like, what is your release valve? How do you...
You want me to knock into that phone?
Yeah, because I'm curious.
No, that's just shit for me. I'm gonna tell you this to me. So like, we all need, as human, right? We all need a friend.
Right.
We all need somebody. Right?
Sure.
So I think the whole purpose I think religion is the best thing that can happen to the world, right? So that's my point of it. So because at the end of the day, think you're in a situation as a human and you got nobody to call.
Sure.
Because growing up, personally, I grew up with me and my dad, right? Mm-hmm. And he would left me sometimes. I'm by myself, right? While I'm by myself, I don't have no friends. So I had to create those imaginary friends. Yeah. And I got 5 of them. And I still know their name till this day, right? But then, so I had to create that, right? Mm-hmm. And then that kept me sane, right? For somebody that would say, oh, that's insane. But truly, I never had friends. So I have to create those. So it's the same situation when you're in a situation where just you got nobody. And people feel like, what's the best thing you can have? An imaginary friend. And then what's the best imaginary friends you can have? A story is a guy that's gonna come and bring you life. So that's why, to me, like an aversion. But then, like, my dad I grew up very religious, right? My dad is a preacher, blah blah blah. But I realized like I don't need that. right? I don't need like, I guess because I create those imaginary friends, and I guess I don't need like, if I'm in a situation, I don't need God. I don't need like, I can train my brain on the level to be like, I don't need this. Because everything I do, like, okay, my mom all the time argue with me about it.
Sure.
She's like, hey, how do we wake up today? I'm like, the alarm wake me up. She's like, no, it's God that wake you up. I mean, like, I feel like, I'm going to give you the best example.
You know, let's
I'm going to give you the best example. I'm going to feed this and I'm going to let
keep
you
it
speak.
brief. No. Keep it brief. We're not taking this conversation
no.
where you left.
No, because
in a religious phase.
no, just like, I'm going to leave it at this.
Because I know that's gonna open another fucking worse every 3 hours to do that for you.
All I'm gonna say is, it's just like, is everything is perspective. Is how you're looking at it. Right?
Yeah.
I can say right now, I can say, man, I don't have no money. I'm hungry. Man, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, God, please help me. Right? Then you step outside, you find $100. You attribute that with God. Period. Right? You're religious. Then I'm like, man, fuck. I'm hungry. I don't have no money. Then I step outside. I find $100. I'm like, damn, I got lucky today. Right? So to me, I don't attribute it to nothing. So it's everything how you looking at it. Doesn't mean like, yes, I could say, fuck, I found $100. You can say, God, give it to you. I said, I found it. So it's how you looking at it. You know what I'm saying? There is there is no way to prove that like I got the $100 because of God. Every situation I've been to, and I've been like, without God for like what, maybe like 15 or 20 years from now, and my life is still, actually, I do what I'm supposed to do. I put the work in. So it's just like, if I need to have a job, that's funny thing. This is where I live in. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Bet.
You're gonna get the job, right? I had to go to get the job I have. I had to go to school. I have to study. I had to still go to work. I still had to take the interview. So everything in life based on luck, right? Now I was telling him the other day, everything you do got luck. Right? Everything. Even the billionaires will tell you everything is based on luck. But you don't want to have everything, you don't want 100% of luck. You minimize the luck. Just like playing the lottery is 100% luck.
I remember I said we gotta keep it brief, and I knew that was gonna happen. Not gonna happen.
No, I'm just saying
I knew that subject was gonna go that far. So that's why I'm saying keep it brief.
So the lottery, even though it's not even 100% luck, it's like 95% luck.
Sure.
5% because you buy the ticket. So that's already make it 5% that you put the work in already. That's the whole purpose to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? That life, you gotta minimize your luck, the better you got, the more knowledge you got. In the stock market, you can be like 100% you don't know what you're doing, but the more knowledge you accumulate, yes, you can do all the due diligence. You can know the stock's gonna go up, tomorrow it's go down. But at the end of the day, the luck at the time probably was like 40%. All I'm gonna say is in life, you gotta minimize your luck. So that's why, like, I know like everything that happened around me, I'm in control of that. So I never attribute any of my success to nothing that I don't see or nothing like that. That's my version of it.
Okay.
Man, I was thinking about something completely
I thought
different. Man, the thing is, I know him very well, and in a sense, kind of like this subject is like a subject we've debated for so long, so many times. I know how much of I'm not gonna say so subject, but it's like if you attack that subject, that's another 3 days of the debate within itself.
Right.
So it's kind of like, let's not lean that way too much, because we've done that a few times before.
But
like,
let's go back to the so I'm gonna ask you, so right now, when somebody's get this book, what you want them, like what they're getting, like what's the whole purpose of having like say, man, right now I want to get this book.
Yes, sir.
So what the people are getting?
Sure thing. When you purchase The Purpose of Paper, you are making your first investment if you haven't invested more. But this is an investment that teaches you how to build a plan for your money, and not only where to invest, because I think we have a lot of, you go on TikTok, someone's telling you about investments there, Instagram, someone's telling you about investments there, but not so much about what these tools are, the background of these tools and what their purpose started as and how they've evolved to this day, but also how they fit into your journey. And what I mean by that, it's a mindset that's required, because a wealthy person that didn't inherit wealth is not wealthy because they invested in stocks. They are wealthy because they had a mindset and systems in place to build that wealth, and they had discipline to carry out the necessary investments over time, right? So this book teaches you the journey of someone who is learning. It's like when you're fixing a car engine, you have to open the hood and look down and see what's going on in the engine. You have to see what the moving parts are. So this book, I break down, here's the timeline of the book from start to finish to get a better understanding. The first chapter introduction, then it's highlighting your goal. What do you want to achieve in this life? So you can understand what tools are available to help you fund that aim or that purpose, right? Next, you have building a budget. Most books teach you to invest in stocks. People on TikTok teach you to trade options. But who teaches you to understand that you need a budget so you understand what money is walking in the door and what money is leaving out just to cover your cost of living? You have to take a snapshot of what's coming in and what's going out before you even know how much you have to be able to invest. And as I was on my journey, I realized I was reading all these financial books. They taught me about stocks, they taught me about crypto, but they didn't teach me I needed to make a budget. So now I'm spending money that I didn't have because I wasn't sure how much I had after my expenses were covered. Next, the next chapter is the savings account. And I'm in each chapter, I'm telling you my personal story and my experience. I'm not talking down to you. I'm sharing from my mistakes, right? Savings chapter. When I got the job I was telling you earlier that I was in Houston, I got a new job. I was living in Baton Rouge, let's say last December. I had to break a lease. Even though it was for a good cause, it was for promotion and to move to another city in a better fitting role. In my book, I posit that you need a 3 to 6 month savings buffer. You need to have 3 to 6 months of your cost of living saved in a high yield savings account, just in case of an emergency. So if that emergency comes up and your car breaks down or you get in that wreck and the person doesn't have insurance, now you can cover the emergency and you don't have to pull the money from your portfolio, right? And the story I told, when I had to break that lease in Baton Rouge to move to Houston, that costed me 3 months of rent. You think I had a savings account?
No.
No. How did I have to get the money? My stock account. I sold the wealth that I was saving for my future self and my future family to pay to break a lease because I operated in the wrong order. I did not have my savings account, which is the brake pads that kept the collision from knocking down my financial tower, right? So it goes from budgeting to teaching you why you need to build a savings account. Then I break down the stock market. And like I said earlier, I flipped the stock market as understanding. Someone has a vision and they turn that vision into a system so they can share it with the world and reproduce it and profit from it, right? But that vision needs funding to evolve and to grow scale and share with more people. The stock market is a tool that lets you use your money to fund other people's vision. And that's how I posit it. That's how I posit it in the book. And also, I teach you not to stock pick, but I teach you a way to use funds that are essentially baskets of stocks so you don't have to worry about stock picking. And not to be long-winded, but for example, when Blockbuster was delisted from the stock exchange in 2010, I believe it was. Don't quote me on the year. That December, Netflix was added into the S&P 500. So you have this fund, and now you didn't even have to, if you own Blockbuster stock, you didn't have to sell the stock before it crashed because the fund already made the change for you and removed it, and then it added in the next winter. So I teach you a strategy of how to put your money into a vehicle that owns a cluster of stocks, and it removes the worst performers and adds in the best performers. It removes the Blockbusters, adds in NVIDIAs. So it lets you keep building your wealth, and you automatically own the most profitable companies of your time, because if the goal of your portfolio is to leave to your children, they want to have the companies that are dominant in their time. They don't want to have the IBMs that are no longer the giants in their space. So I teach you how to use these funds. After the stock market, diversifying from stocks and diversifying into the future is a chapter on how to fund your retirement in a tax smart way. So just breaking down what a 401k is, what a Roth 401k is, and the difference is that when you retire, right, now you no longer have a job that's your main source of income. Your main source of income is the assets that you've accumulated while you were working. So when you withdraw from a traditional 401k, let's say you need $10,000 to cover this new vacation, or you got to cover a damage on that Porsche you got out there. You're going to have to take out about $15,000 just to cover the taxes. And when you turn 73, you have to automatically take withdrawals just because when you have that tax write-off because you put money into your traditional 401k, that's not saying you don't get taxed on it. That's saying we're going to let it grow for 40 years and then tax it then when the tax rates are higher. Yeah. So I teach you the importance of using a Roth. So now you pay the taxes where they are now. And now when you withdraw that $10,000, you withdraw that $10,000, and it's what's called RMDs, those withdrawals you have to take so they can tax you. So I teach you how to build wealth across tax statuses, and that's how I diversify. So each chapter is another layer of diversification built in. So after retirement, we go into Bitcoin, right? And that's diversification away from the stock market through Bitcoin. And I posit Bitcoin is just like the internet, is a peer-to-peer system where anyone can access information. No one owns the internet. It's not controlled by a country or a bank. Bitcoin is similar. It's peer-to-peer, a shared value of wealth. As long as you have connection to the internet, you can exchange value via Bitcoin. One Bitcoin is one Bitcoin if you're in Ghana and I'm in Shanghai or I'm in the US. You don't have to, let's say you're back in, let's say you went visit Zimbabwe or something and you needed some money from me because you had a problem down there. Not only do I have to ship it to you within banking hours, so not on weekends, I have to pay the fees to ship it to you, and I have to convert it to their exchange currency, and the rates could fluctuate. So by sending Bitcoin, instantaneous, 24/7, so I don't have to choose a specific day, and it's deflationary. Last month, the Federal Reserve pumped $13 billion back into the banking system. So that new money into the market makes your money worth less. Because if you're making Kool-Aid and you add in more water, your water is
more
down.
diluted,
And that's
yeah.
that's the analogy I use in the book. So I posit Bitcoin as the wealth of the future. And that's money for you and I. That even, and people have this misconception, even though banks own Bitcoin, they own it and they have funds of it, they aren't the creator of it. So it's still decentralized. They just own it. They don't own the system or the network or the asset itself. They just possess the asset because they see the store of value in the US. We now have a plan to build a strategic crypto reserve with Bitcoin over the next 5 years. So that'll be billions of dollars. The US is the largest nation that holds Bitcoin, right? And the largest banks in the world, well, asset managers in the world, BlackRock and Vanguard, all have Bitcoin. So if you're looking to say, okay, Bitcoin isn't legitimate, what about the US? What do they think about it? What do the biggest banks in the world, the biggest asset managers in the world think about it? You know what I'm saying? And it's legitimized as legal currency in different places. So I teach you to diversify throughout Bitcoin, and it's a deeper dive in the book. I just wanted to give an overview and not be polarizing, right? And then after Bitcoin, we segue from digital assets to physical gold in the book, right? Because let's just say there was a cyber attack or a data center exploded, et cetera, et cetera. You can't access, what good is $1 million if I don't have a phone to use it, right?
Yeah.
How can I transport it? You know, it's online. So I posit physical gold, and it's actually performing well because it's opposite. As the US dollar goes down, since they print more, there's only so much physical gold in existence, so the value goes up. So as the US dollar goes down, gold goes up. So it's a hedge against the decline in the United States dollar, right? And after we break out of the investments, I know the question my readers have, and I want the book to be updated for our time. That was a problem I had with older finance books, right? So I included how to use AI to make more money to invest in the system, right? And how I did that was I feel there are two ways that you make your money. You either work for a job or you own a business, right? I teach you how to use AI to build a resume to help increase the likelihood of you getting a job to make money. And I teach you how to make a business plan with AI, how to highlight your niche and different AI tools for business owners so you can grow your wealth with AI and not have to fear it. And I'm privy to insights of how a major corporation is using AI. Regulators have told this corporation they need to start using AI at a firm-wide level. This corporation is using AI they just made an acquisition and they're using AI to streamline. You know how, let's say you have a banking system and that comes with your data and your way. Everybody use different accounts, etc. You have to migrate all that into yours, using AI for that. Then you have law firms. You know how long it takes to read those dossiers? So they're using AI, and you know how that benefits us when law firms use AI? Now that's less billable hours because, you know, lawyers charge by the hour. So that helps us get less billable because they're using AI. So different sectors are using AI. And as you see, there have been 1.17 million layoffs this year from January to now, 1.17 million layoffs. The job market is falling because AI is taking jobs, and it's a bad economy, but that's a topic for another day. AI is taking jobs, right? I want you to use AI to secure you a job, and I want you to build wealth while you still have money coming in so you aren't dependent on keeping a job in the future and vulnerable to AI taking your job, right? But I also want you to be the next person that God gave you a vision for a business model that can improve the world. And you are using AI to create a business and build wealth for your family, right? So I'm teaching you how to build AI with AI in this book. And my last chapter is the greatest investment. And that's where I truly posit and break down accepting Jesus Christ as eternal diversification, because all the other investments in the book were earthly. Now I teach you how to diversify and build wealth forever, because you can't. I've never seen a dead man, hit a lick on no crypto or, drive no Porsche. So I teach you how to have wealth in the afterlife by accepting Christ. And I break it down using a game where now you have outcomes, right? It's 4 outcomes. 1, God was telling the truth and there's a judgment day and you accepted Jesus and lived your life accordingly, you go to heaven. 2, God was telling the truth and there's a judgment day and you didn't and you spend your life in damnation. 3, you accepted God and lived a virtuous life and there was no afterlife. So now you're just floating in space or whatever. And 4, you didn't accept God and now there's no afterlife, so you were good, But I just posit, what does the cost of believing in someone that can save your soul and living a virtuous life that's aligned with Christianity and accepting Jesus, I think that's worth believing in, not only so you don't go to hell, but just the virtues of the life of being an upstanding person. And who wants to gamble their eternity and risk going to hell just because God acted in so many ways and you chose? Because God it's always an earthly explanation and it's always a divine explanation. That's where faith comes in, because you got to choose how you look at it. What is your lens? Did you find that $100 because it blew from somebody cutting their grass? Or did God know you needed that $100 to buy that camera because you got a podcast to do?
We'll never know.
You know what
We'll never know.
At some point, we will. And that's what I posit. Do you want to gamble your life?
I'm listening to you.
No, the thesis of this book is God has a purpose for you, and he gave you money as a tool to fund that purpose. So the purpose of your paper is to achieve God's purpose for your life and to increase your quality of life using your money and your financial resources.
Yeah. So I got a question for you. No,
Yes,
it's not.
sir.
When,
Yes, sir.
Like, okay. Do you have, because
I was gonna tell him, like, if there's any way, like, I'm sure this book is available online somehow,
Yes, sir.
Amazon,
Yes,
so how
sir.
people can get access to it.
yeah.
Great question. The book is available on Amazon, and I'm working. I got some great deals in the work, partnering with some new bookstores, but that information will be available down the line. Right now, you search The Purpose of Paper by Gerron Duhon on Amazon, and you will have your copy. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm on all platforms, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram as Gerron, Gerron, Duhon, Duhon, and you'll find me there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, make sure you spell it, because your name is spelled weird.
Yeah. So,
But yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes,
but my question is, like,
certainly.
when all said and done, what you want your legacy to be?
When all is said and done, I want my legacy to be that every gift and opportunity God gave me, I took advantage of it, and everybody I encountered, I left a positive impression on their life. And just to hear God say, "Well done, my good and faithful servant," and to have a reputation of Gerron was an honorable man. He wasn't a liar. He wasn't always cheating. He wasn't trying to get over on people. He didn't wish anyone any ill will. Of course, I want to be fruitful and successful in my endeavors, but it's all going to fade away anyway. You know what I'm saying? What really matters is, at the end of the day, what will people say about you when you're no longer here? What will that person giving your speech and your eulogy, what will they say about you when you're no longer here? So I just want people to say, man, Gerron was a great person. We had some great times. He was a very humble kid. He was always willing to help. He was always willing to listen. And he was always trying to pour into people and tell them that they could be more and give them hope.
There you go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you got any more questions?
I think I had a good time. It was really good.
No, it was a good time. It was an
too,
interesting
bro.
conversation, even though we kind of bounced a little bit all over the place. But in the Haitian King Podcast, that's what we do. Because as we were telling you, it would be more like a conversation instead of an interview.
Yes, sir.
Kind of like we let the conversation lead to wherever it may lead. So once again, man, thank you for stopping by. It was an amazing conversation, like we said, and we truly enjoyed. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, The Purpose of Paper, like y'all heard Gerron himself, get access, go ahead and buy the book on Amazon. Is there any way they can get access to it in an audiobook? Because I'm more of an audiobook kind of guy, but I'm still gonna get a copy though.
I'm actually in the process of recording the audiobook.
Yeah, so it's gonna be your voice.
Yes, sir.
There you go.
I'm
You
recording
heard,
myself.
you heard it here first, and then as per usual, follow, like, share, and subscribe, and also in the comment section that y'all let us know what y'all think.
It was a pleasure.
All right,
That's a good.
That's a good one, man.
Yes,
How you
sir.
feel about it? You feel like it's good?
I think we touched
I mean, it wasn't too stressful, too nervous, nothing like that. We didn't scare you too much.
You feel like
Hey, man, you know what? What was he been in my mind? I think if you start shooting this shit live.
The Haitian Kings. The Haitian Kings.